Howdy folks, and welcome to episode 11 of Bonfire Man. Okay, here's how Bonfire Man works. I'm locked to specific chunks in the game. I have to interact with everything in my unlocked chunks exactly once. So that means every tree needs to be chopped, every enemy needs to die, every resource needs to be consumed. When I interact with something, it is exhausted. When something is exhausted, I'm not allowed to interact with it again. I'm allowed to randomly unlock a new chunk whenever all of the entities in my current chunks have been exhausted. When I enter a new chunk, I rest at a bonfire, as in the Souls games. Resting at a bonfire unexhausts all of the content in previous chunks that I've already been to. Now I have to exhaust all entities in both the new and old chunks to continue to progress. My objective is to unlock every chunk in RuneScape eventually. All minor rules and exceptions can be found in a Google Doc that I'll link in the description of this video. Let's go ahead and get to the playthrough. Pretty excited today. Unlocked Al-Kharid, so I've actually gotten 2 of the chunks I most wanted on the list to unlock. I'm going to go check out what's going on over there. This is definitely one of the most hyped I've ever been with this, other than the Varrock chunk. So let's go ahead and cross the fog wall here, shall we? Nice. Alright, we're here. Let's light our bonfire. Everything has respawned. Well, no, I've lit the bonfire. Now I need to spin to make things respawn. Spin number 1. Spin number 2. For good measure. Okay, this is Al-Kharid. I think by far the most interesting thing here, the thing I'm most excited about, is being able to tan leather and actually train crafting, which I might actually start doing before I do anything else, before I actually start working on clearing the chunk. We can also do Prince Ali Rescue, and I guess we can do Sorceress's Garden after doing Prince Ali Rescue. It's just barely in the chunk. I think we can only get the Winter Squirk and also the herbs that are in there. I think usually my rule for minigames is once you go into a minigame, the usual rules are suspended. Like the way Bonfire Man applies is that you get to get 1 KC per cycle. But in the case of this one, it's not really KCs associated with it, right? Like, it doesn't actually track your number of clears. So I would be able to go in there and do 1 of each thing, so I can pick all the herbs that are in there and pick the Winter Squirk once per cycle. And we'll keep doing that until we unlock future Squirks. The other thing that's really exciting is having a bank over here. We finally have 4 banks. We've got 1 over in this area in Draenor, we've got 1 in Varrock, the obvious one in Lumbridge, and then the one in Al-Kharid. So this place has been kind of annoying. In order to get in here, in order to avoid paying the fee at the gate, I've had to go like this and go all the way around. But starting today, I guess we'll finish the Prince Ali Rescue quest, and then I can just bank from inside here to do everything in the desert area. I do have Prince Ali Rescue as a task here, and I'll probably do that somewhat early, just so that we can get in here more easily. And I'm a little concerned while I'm talking that I can actually do Prince Ali Rescue. Hoping it doesn't require some weird item. I didn't even think about that. Thankfully I can make soft clay. I can make balls of wool. I have red berries from picking them up off the ground. I have an extra pot of flour, thank God, from that imp that I wasn't that excited about last episode. I think I can do this. I think I can just barely do this. This is amazing. Oh my God. Like, I'm only able to do this because of the specific chunks we have unlocked, right? If we didn't have that exact chunk with the red berries, if I hadn't have gotten that pot of flour drop, if I didn't have access to buy a pink skirt. Wow, okay. And I have a, I've got a chunk with access to clay. Yeah, this is outstanding. I didn't even realize, I wasn't even thinking about the item requirements. So give me a second to try to put this stuff together. I'm gonna do this first before we do anything else, just it lets us get in and out of Al-Kharid more easily. I guess before I start working on that quest, just to summarize everything else that's here, there's 9 Al-Kharid warriors, 4 men to steal and kill, a single scorpion, 2 fishing spots for shrimp, the agility course, which I'm not going to be able to do for some time, and Sorceress's Garden and the quest, but we're going to do the quest first here. Just to kind of point out how crazy this is, the only reason this is possible is because of the onion spawn in Lumbridge, which I only picked up 1 time. So I picked it up once in the first episode, and I haven't picked it up since then, because I'm like, I don't need onions. I need 2 to make yellow dye, so I have 1 for this cycle, and I'll go pick up the other 1 for this cycle, and that'll be just enough to get that dye. Absolutely insane. I've been saving all the beers that have been dropping, knowing that they're used in a million quests. So I'm going to go pop over to Varrock to get the pink skirt. I guess I'll quickly make a bronze bar. I should be able to do that from here. I think I have everything else I need to get the quest going. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start. Yeah, I'm starting the quest here. God, this is so crazy. I think this is a big part of the fun at Chunk Man, though. If I got here and I had everything except, like, the pink skirt, or everything except the clay or something, right? It feels so good to have all of it. I can't believe I was laughing about that second pot of flour from an imp. I was like, that's not that great of a job. The pot of flour is 1 in 64. I got the first one at, like, kill count 53 or 54 or something, and the second one at 55. Another exciting thing about this episode, I'm about to ding 15 mining, which will let me mine the iron that's here. I don't have the inventory space for it right now, but I gotta come back up here anyway to kill the scorpions. Just figured I'd pop up here and get this level since I'm heading in this direction anyway. All right, buying the pink skirt here, and then I gotta go grab my second onion, and we should be good to go. All right, here's that second onion. I'm really glad I grabbed one in the first episode and then didn't eat it. I'm gonna have to start picking up that onion every cycle from now on in case there's another quest that requires yellow dye, because lots of quests require dye. Comes the wig. I need to get the dye to dye it. Learned recently you can just use the onion directly on her rather than go through her long-ass dialogue to pick a dye type, and she just does it instantly. It's great. All right, made the key. Time to head back to Al-Kharid. Quests like this are extra brutal when I never, ever, ever have run energy under any circumstances. Jagex, make Bonfire Man a league. Officially support it and give me infinite run. Hey, there's Prince Ali rescue, 700 coins, which is pretty good actually. That's a lot of money right now for me. And now I can use the Al-Kharid toll gate, which is amazing, and more importantly I can do Sorceress's Garden. So I'm gonna go do that really quick. I don't remember how many herb patches are in there, but this is another reason why I love this game mode so much, because if there's even more than one herb patch, no one would ever care about that. They just click on the one, right? Or even they wouldn't get the herbs at all because it's not efficient compared to getting the winter squirt, but the fact that I can do both is going to be outstanding. Okay, heading into Sorceress's Garden. I don't know if I can see. I think there might only be, oh wait, no, there are multiple herb nodes. Oh boy. Let me take a look. How many can I even reach? I don't know if I can get to the one in the back, but I can at least get to 3 of them. Let's see if I'm able to walk on top of them too. We'll find out in a second. Yeah, that's pretty solid. So I think that's herbs, which is good for whenever I unlock herb lore. But it's also farming XP each time I pick one of those, I think. Grabbing the squirk first. It's only farming XP at the moment, but it's 30 farming XP, which is very significant. Level 10 farming, you can make red berry bushes. Oh, this reminds me. So I was like, okay, red berry seeds, how can I get those? And one of the ways it said I could get them is via wise old man tasks in Draenor Village, which I did not know existed. So it's like some weird tasks that the wise old man can give you that are mostly garbage. They're really, really simple, like bring me 3 empty beer glasses or something. And then he gives you a variety of rewards that are terrible, that no person in their right mind should ever care about, but there's a lot of rewards on the wise old man's table that I actually care about quite a bit. So it's possible that he can give us tasks that we can't do. I would even say that it's likely that that will happen. Okay, yeah, I can't pick all 5 of these. I can only pick the outer 3. I was worried about that. That's okay though. So that's 50 farming XP. Oh my god, this is amazing. This is almost more farming XP than I get from farming every day. Outstanding. Anyway, I'm gonna go talk to the wise old man when we get to the Draenor chunk later to see if we can do one of his tasks. He might end up giving us a task that we simply can't do, requiring an item that we can't get to, or delivering a letter to an NPC that we can't reach, but I should have been doing that since we unlocked Draenor. I just honestly didn't know it was a thing. This is absolutely amazing. We're gonna get like 180 farming XP per day here. Farming is the only skill that I have that I'm currently ranked on the high scores for with this account, as of the time of recording, which is amusing. Given that I have a good chunk of XP, I guess I effectively have a good chunk of XP in a ton of free-to-play skills, which is probably why it doesn't really compare. Okay, so here's a question. This ferryman goes to Temporos? Does that mean that the Temporos chunk is a chunk that we can roll now? I think the answer is yes, based on what I was saying earlier with Port Sarim. However, there are already a couple other NPCs, or at least one NPC, for which I probably should have already done this. There's Count Check, which we rolled recently in Lumbridge Swamp East. That was last episode. Count Check can teleport you just outside the Stronghold of Security exactly 1 time. So does that mean that that chunk should be accessible since I can technically get there? Also, I've had the canoe for a long time, and I've been using the canoe to get to the Champions Guild because I had it unlocked. But should having access to the canoe also unlock the other canoe stops, which are currently not adjacent to any of our tiles? Again, I think the answer is yes. I think that if there's some kind of in-chunk way to access a new area, that should be a place that you could warp to. Similarly, if we had Shantae Pass and we had that thing that lets you get thrown in jail in Draenor, that would also be an option. So I might add that as the end of this episode. I didn't really think about it before until I saw this ferry, and then the ferry made me think about the canoe. One of the things I'm going to have to do here is collect the beer glasses from the Sorceress's Garden House. I forgot to do that. I'll do that as part of spawn items, or I'll add it in here as a dispense. I'll do one of those once per cycle, so we'll need those for squirk juices in the future. Even if I collect squirks, I can't turn them in because I don't have a pestle and mortar yet, and I don't think I can buy one. What I'm going to do right now, though, is I think I have enough money from the quest reward. Yeah, I'm going to start working on turning all of my cowhides into leather and see how far that gets us in crafting. This will be quite nice, too. I'm going to get stuff that I can actually use here. Yep, there's level 11 crafting. Now I can do leather vambraces. All right, 14 crafting lets us make leather bodies. Thread's going to be a bit of a challenge on this account. This is all thread that I collected from the ham storeroom, and I'm going to have to buy out the shop stock over here, but there's not a lot of thread there. It's not going to last me super long, so it's going to be important that I continue to pick up thread that drops from mobs, and the fact that I'm killing ham guards and pickpocketing ham members hopefully gives us a ongoing supply of thread. I don't really have an objective here with leveling crafting. It's just important to get up there for a lot of useful unlocks, most of which I can't really use at the moment, but I like to get a full set of leather armor, for example, for when I train ranged again. Yeah, so I just used up all of my thread from the ham storeroom. I'm going to go buy out the stock up here. I'm also going to buy everything else, the molds, that kind of thing. I might pop into the fire altar to make a fire tiara, just to get some cheeky runecraft XP. I should be able to do the same. Did I get a water talisman? Which talismans do I have? I don't have a water talisman yet, so that's the only other one I could make at the moment. All right, here's where stock actually matters. I'm not going to buy out, obviously, anything in here except for the thread, but I will buy out the thread. So I can't buy any more thread from this NPC until I complete this chunk, and then his shop stock will refresh every cycle. All right, there's my 100 thread, and I'm just going to buy one of every mold here, most of which I won't be able to use for some time. I guess to make the tiara, I need silver bars, which I don't have yet, so I think mining silver is level 20 mining, which we should get to a little bit more quickly now that we can mine iron, but it's still not going to be anytime particularly soon. This chunk is actually kind of like a dream for processing in general. We've got a range right here, a furnace right here. I might do some cooking of... I guess I'll start doing my potatoes here instead of in Varrock. Still want to make sure I cook the food that applies in the Lumbridge range on the Lumbridge range. There's only kind of a mild taste of the breakpoint gasms, as I'm going to continue to call them in Chunkman mode. The fact that we've been killing cows every cycle for like 8 cycles or something means that we have all of this leather banked up that I haven't been able to use until just now. So I'm going to explode from 10 crafting to 20 plus crafting. This doesn't happen a lot. It's one of the things I'm looking forward to with like Limport's Extreme One Chunk Iron Man series, because this is way more intense than this one, right? Like he has so many herbs saved up from killing 500,000 men in Lumbridge that whenever he unlocks Taverley, it's going to be amazing. So I think every Chunkman account should be a regular Iron Man as opposed to an ultimate Iron Man, because like banking is a huge chunk of the fun, I think. All right, here's 20 crafting. I'm making chaps now. 27 XP apiece, pretty solid. I'd like to get to 25. I don't know if I have enough leather in the bank for it to happen, but that would be a nice stopping point. No particular reason for it other than it's a multiple of 5, so it looks nice. All right, just hit 25 crafting, which was my goal. One of the levels I passed was 23, which lets us do tiaras, but I need to get silver ore to be able to do that, so it'll be a while before we can. I might also be able to sell these for a very small amount of money. I'm just going to hold on to them for now, I guess, and I'll obviously use them for training ranged. But that was the crafting that I was excited about doing, and we went from level 10 to level 25, so pretty good stuff. I'm going to go through and finish up this chunk here. We're going to go ahead and fish I think the rule about being able to use these nodes to depletion after clearing a chunk is going to be pretty much mandatory for fishing to be a skill that we can even train. Even with Temporos, we should be able to clear this chunk. We gotta do the agility course, which is easier said than done. Yeah. All right, looking up the drops for the Al-Kharid warriors over here. Bronze Medhelm, Iron Dagger. Right now, this is looking pretty similar to regular men drops. Yeah, I think it's basically the same. That's fine. Those are still good. I mean, I'll still take like the copper ore would be a good drop. The talismans would be nice. The runes would be nice. All right, one of the men I'd killed dropped a copper ore, 1 in 64, which is what we're living for right now. So it's very exciting stuff. Okay, so there are multiple shelves in here, including on the second floor, which I did not know existed. The second floor also has beer glasses on it, so I will get each of these. Supposed to be a single scorpion in this chunk somewhere. I don't think I've seen it, unless if it's in somebody's house. I'm gonna go bank this stuff and then I'll look up the location. Literally just walked past it while I was talking. I wonder if you saw it while I said that. It's possible. That's gonna be our last thing for the chunk, and then we'll start going back and clearing prior chunks. As far as the live split timer is concerned, we're already an hour and a half in, mostly because of Prince Ali Rescue having us run around the map. It took quite a while. So I don't think you notice I've added the previous chunk time there in the corner, so we can kind of compare. We did it in 7 hours and 23 minutes before. I'd expect this to be that plus an hour 27, and if there's wiggle there, probably because I did something wrong. Actually, part of the wiggle is going to be, do I sit down and spend time crafting, which I think I already did with crafting, but I'm going to do it now with, I'm going to make a bunch of bronze bars, because why not? Probably going to call out these smithing level ups since they come so rarely. Level 8, bronze square shields. Mine my first iron ore. I don't know how much this is going to affect my mining XP per cycle, but I think it's going to be pretty decent. Yeah, 35 per ore. It's pretty solid, and there's 9 here. Doing the East Varrock mine. I'm just trying to do all the mining associated stuff right now. All right, it's mining 17, and this chunk is done. It's definitely going to fall apart later in the game, but I think there's actually a decent amount of ore nodes. Probably because you can't sit and mine them repeatedly, right? We'll see. I'm thinking it's going to be around level 60 or 70 that, like, leveling most of these skills, other than crazy ones like woodcutting and combat that have tons and tons of things to level off of, it's going to get really slow and really miserable. And I'm going to have to start finding other solutions. Unfortunately, that's around the tier you need for the quest cape, which I think is a solid, like, mini goal if we can't actually do every chunk. All right, the Champions Guild is as complete as it can be right now, given that I don't have access to the southern part of the river. It's really nice to be able to have access to all these fishing nodes. I mean, we're only up to 9, so that's not a lot of fish per day, but per cycle. I'm probably going to use per day and per cycle interchangeably, even if it takes me more than, 1 day. 18 mining. I get pretty decent XP per day now that iron is available. Over 1,000. I think any skill where I get over 1,000 XP per day is pretty solid at this time. So not fishing. Fishing's like 90 per day. But to that end, we will hit level 15 fishing soon. Just gonna have a problem of not having access to a fishing rod. In Lumbridge here, I'm gonna try to knock out a handful of things. So I'm gonna use up all of these bronze bars, and I think I'm gonna start working on cooking. It's level 9 smithing. Make bronze warhammers. I don't think there's anything else I want to make that's bronze. Just need to get smithing up to be able to make iron stuff. And there's level 10 smithing. Alright, I finished all the mining tasks everywhere, and I guess almost finished all the fishing tasks. I still have the one in Trainer Village. Current objective is finishing up the Lumbridge chunks, other than the cave. And I'm starting with just the rats, because I had a problem with rat count last time. 39 attack. I need 1 more attack level before I switch back to strength. The rat count was off last cycle, so if it's off again, then I know that something's wrong with the wiki. Nope, looks like I just made a mistake yesterday. The count appears to be correct. There's 4 more giant rats outside Lumbridge, but it should be a total of 28. So there's 24 plus 20. 24 plus 4 is 28, so that's cool. I was already over the total rat count just because of rats crossing the boundary when I had only this chunk unlocked, so I think it's fine. Pick up this swamp tar. We're gonna kill these frogs. It's probably one of my least favorite things when we do a cycle here. These goddamn frogs. They're really slow to kill. There's tons of them. They don't drop anything. We'll do it. We need the combat XP. It's fine. Going ahead and making these bronze arrows from the bronze arrow tips that I made. 25 fletching. Can make oak longbows. Oh, missed it. 40 attack, so I'm going to switch back to strength now. Killing all these frogs isn't that much worse than, you know, killing goblins. The problem is looking for the little frogs that I missed, because I'm missing 3 little frogs and 1 big frog. And they blend in really well with the background, so I'm going to try to track them down here. There's our last little frog right on the edge there. I'm done with frogs here. Almost done with chopping trees too, but I gotta go get the really stupid trees that you have to go all the way around the back of the church for. This remains one of the funniest things to me about this playthrough, that I have to hit these 2 stupid trees back here that no one has ever chopped. Alright, I'm gonna pull up the list of meats that you can cook on the Cook-O-Matic for bonus burn rate. I'm gonna make an inventory tag so I can keep track of them, and I'm gonna cook all those. We'll make this a processing chunk. I've already done a lot of smithing and crafting and fletching. May as well do some more. All right, here are my meats that should work here. I guess also beef should work. I'd like to cook all of these just to get our cooking level up, get some higher level food if I need it. I think I can technically make stews in this account. So I'm not going to use literally all of this. I'll leave a little bit of it behind, but I'm going to go ahead and start working on it here. Speaking of which, cooking 25, that's what we need to make stews. So I might start saving my raw potatoes for that, because I can make stews on this range. The problem is I need bowls. Very limited number of bowls. I only have the ones that I've picked up and banked in each cycle so far, or purchased from stores. I think I've only bought the 2 from the Lumbridge store. I think there might also be 2 that I could technically buy in Varrock to get us up to 15. My extremely limited access to bowls might actually lead me to try to craft bowls at some point, which, wouldn't that be rad? Like, I don't think I've ever seen anybody craft a bowl before, but no, it might actually be correct for me because I have access to more clay nodes. All right, so I need to save all of my cooking for when I need to like edit or something, because this is actually traditional AFK, and I've been playing Bonfire Man for so long now. This feels weird. It feels weird to be AFK for this long. I'm gonna go ahead and finish getting to level 30 cooking, because why not, but yeah, I need to save all of this meat so that I have at least like an hour or so of AFK backed up in case I need to work on something. Here's level 30 cooking. Looking like a pretty cool guy here with full range gear. We're going to get to level 20 range so I can unlock the Willow Shortbow, and then I'm probably just going to have to buy it from the shop in Varrock. I think it sells a bunch of short bows. I assume it sells a Willow Shortbow since I can't get access to flax at the moment. An easy clue scroll. Maybe we'll be a little bit more lucky this time. I think our chance to complete an easy clue is still pretty bad. 1.55%. Well, I do have the dual arena. Is the one thing the dual arena chunk is useful for is this one clue step. However, can I get an iron chain body and a coif? Yeah, Horvik and Varrock sells an iron chain body, but what about the coif? Because I can't craft that yet. Coif is a reward from an easy casket. I can get it in the Champions Guild, but I can't get into the Champions Guild yet. 38 crafting, which we got a lot of crafting XP today, but we're not anywhere near 38. So sadly, I have to drop this, but I guess I'll keep that in mind, that this is a clue step that we're somewhat close to being able to do. So more and more reason to work on crafting in the meantime. All right, I'm in Lumbridge, and by Lumbridge I mean Varrock. I'm gonna go pick up some runes and see if I can get a Willow Shortbow from this archery shop. All right, it looks like it sells a regular shortbow, an oak shortbow, a willow shortbow, and a maple shortbow. That was 200 coins, which is fine. All right, and I'm also gonna get a couple mind rune packs, and I'll go ahead and add these to the shop tracker, my spreadsheet. Okay, bought 3 mind rune packs. We've now bought a total of 9 from this guy. And I'm gonna stop at the general store to see if I can get a couple of bowls. All right, buying both of the bowls from the general store here. We should get these bucket packs at some point, but they're pretty expensive for each pack, so. Rick Turpentine, hoping for money, and I got a spinach roll. I grabbed the new sidebar plugin here called Random Event Estimation. It looks like it estimates a random event every hour or so. So I'm going to use this to determine whether it's safe for me to hop. All right, that's range level 20. Now I can use this willow short bow, which I'm going to switch to. Oh my god, this willow short bow is such a massive upgrade over the bronze cross. Like, I was getting used to the bronze crossbow. Like, I guess this is what ranged feels like. It doesn't have a higher max hit, but it's way more accurate, and most importantly, it's like 150% faster. It's attack speed 4 instead of attack speed 6. This is actually giving me some hope that I might be able to kill those big frogs by safe spotting them with ranged eventually, or the giant frogs in the lumbered swamp cave. This seems extremely worth it at the moment. Oh shit, 3 law runes. Precious, precious law runes. I don't know. I need teleport so badly. I'm probably not gonna, I mean, I'm 5 levels away from Varrock teleport. This would be an amazing teleport to have. Whew, boy. The thought of like using these when I only have 3 of them, it's pretty challenging. I really hope I get some kind of chunk that gives me access to a decent number of law runes or enemies that drop a decent number of them. I'm wondering what I'm doing here. Just kind of getting my slay tasks out of the way, walking around, killing stuff that the bow makes sense for. It turns out the bow is not very good for the Varrock guards, because they have a pretty high range defense. So I am likely going to go grab my adamant sword and carry that around for enemies that have high range defense. 29 prayer. I guess 31 and 34 are pretty neat, but I'm really just here for the protection prayers. All right, can I finally get a one-step beginner clue, please? After all this time. Nope, sure can't. Reldo. I don't know if I actually need the strange device for these. Let me look up. I might just be able to go dig in the legal locations, but I don't know if I have access to any of the legal locations, so give me a second. And there's one in the Cowfield north of Lumbridge that I can't get into. One on Ice Mountain that I can't get to. There's one near Draenor Village that I can't get to. There's one near Draenor Manor that I can't get to. There's one up here, northeast of the Al-Kharid mine. I gotta give it a try. I gotta check it. Nope, can't get over there. It's that tile there, sadly. All right, here comes 51 woodcutting. 9 more to go. Killed my last Dark Wizard and got another Fire Talisman, so once we can get silver bars to make tiaras, I can make a Fire Tiara, which would be cool. The advantage of having all of this crappy cooked meat is I can at least top off my health now whenever I'm at a bank, instead of just dealing with the fact that I'm low health. It's slow, but it's just hard to say, like, is this worth it? Is it better to just die so I get a prayer and run energy refill? It's still kind of annoying to have to run around all the time when I die. I think I got a little bit too excited with training ranged and killing all the chickens and cows because it's going to be hard for me to babysit farming patches now. So I think I'm only going to plant one thing this cycle instead of both my Hammerstone and my Asgarnian hops. I should be able to baby it pretty decently while doing potatoes. So I probably will work on that here shortly. This weapon storeroom key is really annoying. I got to kill that weapon master every single time. He's so far out of the way. Farming 11, you can now grow rosemary. Well, I don't even know what kind of patch that goes into. I'll look it up here. Rosemary is a flower, apparently, so not unless we unlock the Falador patch. I really hope we do get the Falador patch. That would be pretty outstanding, actually. Am I going to get a one-stepper? Nope. Might be able to do this. South of the Draenor Village Bank. It's a bit of a walk, but I'll head there. Let me check on the farming patch first before I head over there. All right, let's pray that this is a completed beginner clue. I think they can go up to 3 steps. Hooray! That's our second ever casket. Okay. I'm prepared for this to be garbage. My guess is it's going to have a leather cowl in it, and it's going to be worth 3 coins. Oh, that's actually pretty good. I was just celebrating the 3 law runes that we got from a Dark Wizard kill. I have to walk so fucking much on this account, man. Like, I wish... I would make an exception... I would absolutely make an exception to just be able to miserably train agility on those stupid stepping stones in the Lumbridge Swamp Cave. Like, I would do that for 100 hours to help with my run energy problem, but I don't want to compromise the integrity of the account, and I can't think of a possible rule that would allow me to get away with that shit. The only thing I can think of would be to say, oh, I can attempt that I can attempt that shortcut in both directions until I succeed on it at least once in both directions, right? Which would result in probably several hundred agility XP. But no, I'm not going to do that. I'm Gonna try to lamp our way there. I think I'm actually gonna start gathering potatoes so I can keep an eye on this patch of hops. Oh, and if you're interested, here's our live split timer right now. We are 5.5 hours in, so we're definitely gonna go over time from the last chunk, but I've also spent a bunch of time leveling some skills here, like cooking, crafting. Hey, there's Evil Bob. We're doing the prison one. Oh well. 3 diamonds. Oh, this plugin's pretty cool. It logs the random event when you get one, and it summarizes like how much time it took to occur, what time exactly it happened, how much XP per hour you were earning at the time. I'm sad I haven't had this on the whole time. This would be really nice to show you on the video, like full history of random events, but we'll start doing it from this point forward. All right, just finished up the potatoes. I'm going to try to chop some trees just so I stay somewhat close to this patch. It's almost done, but it could get diseased on the last step. Okay, so it did get diseased. I'm gonna have to wait a little bit longer to finish it up. Okay, harvesting these hops. We're getting towards the end here. It's gonna summarize the tasks that we're still working through. Lumberage is actually almost done already. I might go ahead and finish it up. I just have to deal with the men and women, pickpocket and murder them. Then I think I'm gonna go do the ham hideout. We'll take care of the ham guards and pickpocket down in the ham hideout. Lumberage swamp cave is gonna be last, but after the ham hideout, I'll go over to Draenor. There's a whole bunch of stuff to do over there still. I'm also going to try the Wise Old Man tasks. It would be really, really cool if we can get one of those and actually do it, because the reward table is amazing for this account. It's terrible for everybody else, but it is amazing for this account. It's the last man to take out in Lumberage here. Doing okay on thieving. Probably going to hit, well, we're definitely going to hit 17. Pickpocketing the ham members. But I still think it's going to be a couple more cycles until we get to 20 and can start pickpocketing the male ham members, which is unfortunate because there's more of them than there are the females. So as you can see, anything with a red square I have to do. So basically everything's done except for the ham hideout chunk and the Draenor village chunks. Also, I've gone ahead and used, I tried using that check mark and it didn't work. I think this looks better anyway. Basically, when I complete a chunk, I'm going to replace the chunk number with 3 asterisks because that survives import and export. And that just means that that chunk is done. And I don't have to do it if I don't want to. All right, we're going to try getting an old man task here. Abbot Langley. Okay, yeah, so I don't feel bad about missing this on earlier cycles because apparently the first task he was going to give me I can't do. It's over here. Actually, it's over here. Pretty far, but it'll be nice once we finally unlock more places to do his tasks. Wiping out all these trees continues to look really good. Big fan. All right, just finished Draenor, working on the Draenor sewers. Hopefully I get a cool drop from one of these guys eventually. There's a couple of runes on their drop table. A rare drop table drop. No matter what it is, honestly, even like the annoying 100 silver ore drop that everybody hates would be incredible for me. I'm actually going to pull up the rare drop table. I'm curious if I can find even one thing that would not be amazing. Yeah, everything on that table is outstanding. Maybe the javelins, because I'll probably never be able to use a javelin. But everything else would be good. And like, I think that's a lot of that has to do with the nature of this mode, right? Like, you don't care about the 100 silver ore drop because you could just go and mine silver ore, but I'm gonna have to, even when I'm able to mine silver ore, I only get so many per cycle. So I think there's a lot of things that I enjoy about this mode. Like, the big downside is not having AFK content anymore. But I think one of the best things about it is just that enemy drops are ridiculously impactful. It makes that aspect of the RNG really, really exciting. Every zombie kill here could be mind-blowing. Draenor sewers done. I got an iron ore. Nothing else significant. I guess the runes are pretty good. Looking beautiful. All right, let's go kill these ham guards, and then it's time for the Lumberage Swamp Cave. 17 thieving, and 3 of the members has been pickpocketed out of 10. So yeah, I think it's going to be 2 or 3 more cycles before we get to 20. Got my second ham cloak here. So I think we just need... Yeah, we need a hood and another talisman. We'll be set for that quest in 3,000 hours when we get the other prerequisites. All right, ham hideout's done. Everyone's been pickpocketed and or killed. Ooh, mysterious old man, random. No, not the mime show again. God damn it. God, fucking hell. I was waiting outside to try to get this to spawn. I think that this event estimation thing is helpful. Like, we just have to wait for a 5-minute interval whenever I'm outdoors. All right, it's Lumberage Swamp Cave time. It's gonna kill all these cave bugs. I might take a swing at the giant frogs by safe spotting them over the river. I'm gonna have to leave and come back, obviously. I can burn through, I bought 300 mind runes, so I could probably burn all my mind runes on that. I don't think it would be terrible. It wouldn't be the most efficient use of the Mind Runes for Magic XP, but 2 Cosmic Runes. These are... We now have 4 Cosmic Runes, so that's double the number we have. That's insanely impactful. You'd be surprised. It's going to govern my ability to make Rings of Forging later. I think that's what I'm going to be saving all of my Cosmic Runes for, unless if I'm somehow able to make like a Strength Ammy or something before I get access to one via other means. But yeah, Rings of Forging I think are going to be really important for getting as much smithing value as possible out of the limited amount of iron ore that I'm going to be able to gather. I get another candle to drop. I think the cave bugs also drop a candle lantern, which maybe will let me cross through that area. I don't think it's as good as the bullseye lantern, but decreases the chance that they'll explode or something. All right, here's our obligatory 2 jumps over this thing. Still have yet to succeed at it, and I'm going to continue to fail. Teensy amount of agility XP there. I'll do that 2 more times on the way to the giant frogs. Maybe more if I end up fighting the giant frogs. I can take that as my reward for attempting them there. All right, gonna kill my final big frog over here. Then I'm gonna start damaging one of the giant frogs in melee until it gets my health really low, which I don't anticipate is going to take very much time at all. These things like absolutely shred me still. Yeah, I just got hit for a 9. I'm jumping back over this thing for 1 agility XP. I wish I could grind that. I want to grind it so bad. I should have spent those 1,000 coins. Screw the Myth Battle Axe. All right, I think I'm going to come back here with magic and try to safe spot that guy. I might be able to do 2 of them. Oh god, I need 2 minutes to cast my spell. Son of a bitch. All right, hold on. Here, I don't need to explicitly avoid using this thing. I just can't jump back and forth over it. So I'm using it right now in order to leave more efficiently, which is a approved usage. All right, we're here at the frog. I'm going to try to flick Mystic Lore as much as I can here. Try to maximize my runes. I might be able to cross the thing and flick it, like safe spot them behind one of those stalactites. I'm not sure. I'll try once this one dies, but I'll be back once it's dead. Report how many runes I burned through. I started with like 340 of them, mind runes. All right, so I'm paying attention here, and I think I don't actually have to flick Mystic Lore because I'm only actually missing when I hear the splash sound effect. The rest of the time I'm just hitting a 0 naturally because this thing has a max hit of 2. I wonder if this is a situation where it would make more sense to bring another elemental rune down here with me just to get a slightly higher max hit so I'm getting more value out of the mind runes. Probably not. Probably I need to conserve every other rune type that I possibly can. Yeah, because then I'm going to be spending a ton of air runes and I'll burn through the Aubrey stock pretty fast, so this is probably still the way to go. My point that I was going to make was, hey, this could be a source of AFK for me. These 3 frogs, once per cycle, I can go AFK for 7 minutes or something. It's level 22 magic. I'm almost... Yeah, I'm using like about 100 runes per frog, which probably don't want to be doing anymore, so I don't think I'm going to kill all 3 of them or even 2 of them. I'll jump over this thing to get my runes and then I'll roll out of here. Alright, finally got the kill. Yeah, it's like 120 runes or so. And I fell again. Alright, so here's a situation where I would love to jump back over this, but I technically have home teleport, and yeah, just gonna try to be as responsible as possible. If I can come up with a reason to jump the thing, I will absolutely do it because I need as much agility XP as possible. But alright, heading back to the Lumberage Bank so that we can summarize the chunk and roll our new chunk. Okay, that's the end of the chunks. Let's, as always, summarize our tasks here. Still can't chop ewes or fish for trout. Can't do any of that stuff in the Lumberage Cellar. Can't chop ewes. Can't steal from the ham mills. It's a couple episodes off, I think. Can't mine coal. If I get a water talisman, I think the big frogs downstairs do drop them. I might go in there and make a water tiara, but I think I also have to make water runes and steam runes to call that done. Can't kill most of these. Lack of Slayer level. Can't get to the other cow pen. Well, I guess I can technically go on the fire altar. I do have a fire talisman, but I would like to wait until I have silver ore so I can make a tiara. Can't steal from guards yet. Can't chop ewes. I never have gloves on when I go to this nettle. It always does damage to me. I added the master farmer. I forgot to include that, but I haven't been able to do it anyway. I can't do Puro. Nothing in the duel arena. Can't do half of this because it's south of the River Lum, but I did everything I could do. Can't do sour hogs. Can't steal from any of these guys. I tried to do a wise old man task, but unfortunately it's in the monastery, so I probably can't go there for a long time. Drainer Sewers is optional, but I did it. Al-Kharid Mine, I can't do silver, gold, coal, mithril, or adamantite yet. I can't get to the 2 rats in East Varrock Mine. Varrock I can't finish because of these quests. Lumbered Swamp East, I need the agility tasks. A reminder that there is, in fact, a sub-chunk that I don't even have listed here for the Misthalin Mystery quest, which is totally borked and has a bunch of like dead trees that are placed haphazardly on top of each other that you can't click because they didn't expect anyone to ever chop those trees. But I did it, and I cleared that chunk. I probably should just add it. Maybe I'll add it, and I'll put the stars on it, and we'll just put that there's 56 trees there and that it's done. For the sake of completion. And then Al-Kharid Palace is actually almost done, except for the agility course. I can't do that just yet. Having Sorceress's Garden is really nice. There's like a ton of farming XP in there that we're going to get every round, and eventually some thieving XP. I have to look up, let me, real quick, I'm going to look up a pestle and mortar. I don't know where my closest. Oh man, that sucks. I'm not going to get a pestle and mortar for a really long time. There's some in Karamja, Shiloh Village, Relica, Gutenoth, Keldegrim, Prif, Entrana, Taverley. If I make it to Taverley, then we're good, but yeah, the only spawn is in the Isle of Souls, which I don't think that's happening anytime soon. Drops from a zombie in Tarn's Lair. That's kind of our only chance at it. That's really unfortunate because I could get a good amount of thieving XP, even if I'm only getting 1 squirk per day. Given how limited I am in thieving XP right now. Oh well, alright, other things to review. XP, I guess I've got my total XP here. This is the true XP gained today. So about 60k total. Let me show you my live split timer too. This one, we're about 46 minutes over from yesterday, but a lot of that was, you know, intentional grinding, cooking, crafting, that sort of a thing. But if I'm doing 60k XP divided by 7k XP per hour total across all skills, gross. Anyway, here's all the XP that we got. 14k woodcutting, 7k strength, 6.7k crafting just because we had a lot of leather banked up, 6240 cooking because we had a lot of meat backed up, 5920 attack. I'm probably going to sit on 40 attack for a while. 5052 ranged. Range is starting to become actually a good skill. It was really bad before. It didn't really compete at all with melee, but now that I've got a max hit of 4, it's starting to be useful. We're on our way to 43 hit points. Fletching's on its way. Prayer, we got a long way to go until we get any protection prayers, but it'll be really hype when it happens. Mining, I don't think we're going to quite hit level 20 next episode. It's going to be real close. We should hit level 20 the episode after that, and that will be good because then we can mine silver. Farming is doing okay. It's much better now. I think about half of our XP every day is going to come from Sorceress's Garden if I still have hop seeds to plant, which I won't. Tomorrow is my last day of hop seeds. It's going to be my last 4 hammerstones, and that's it. I think I mentioned that I wasn't going to rule on refreshing shop stocks until it actually started to matter, until we had it, you know, completely depleted a stock and we cared. And I guess now we care. If I were to allow them to be refreshed, I would probably use the same rule that I'm using for depleting ore nodes, that only the shops in completed chunks refresh their stock on a new cycle, which would further incentivize completing chunks that have shops in them. Anyway, back to reviewing XP. Thieving, 3 more episodes, I would guess. 3 more cycles until we get to 20 thieving. Fishing is still really slow. 90 XP is better than the 20 XP we were getting just with Draenor, but I don't think we're going to get to hit 15 unless we get an Evil Bob random. And then this Agility XP. I really want to get to level 2 or 3 just so that the random events can be worth more. All right, let's look at loot. Loot for today. Just going to scroll through it here. Cosmic Rune drop from the big frogs was pretty good. And looking at our bank right now, reviewing new items. So we got a bunch of clean herbs. Those are from the Sorceress's Garden. Just going to go through each of these one by one. I'm going to move the squirk juice into that tab. A bunch of cowls and leather vambraces and leather chaps from the crafting grind. We actually are using all of those. Bronze mace is just a floor spawn in Al-Kharid. The roll was from the Sandwich Lady random event. Spinach roll was from Rick Turpentine. First ever law runes, which I'm really pumped about. Don't know that I'm going to get to use them, but very soon, but we will use them eventually. I got our Willow shortbow that I bought from a shop, and then all of the molds for crafting, which I haven't used yet. Realized I left the live split timer on too long there, and you couldn't quite see the bottom of this list here, or the XP list, so here's the bottom if you missed it. Frogs, Black Bears, Al-Kharid Warriors, 7 Agility XP, 40 Fire Making, 90 Fishing, so on. Here's the total bank at the moment. I'm going to start saving my potatoes to make stew, but I got to fix my bull problem. Looking pretty good, though. Pretty pleased with all this. And I guess the last thing to mention there is time played. We're at 3 days and 4 hours, so that's 76 hours. Yeah, it's starting to take about 8 hours to do all these chunks, so I think when we add a new chunk, it maybe adds 30 minutes to that cycle. So I mentioned way earlier that we're not going to hit a progression wall that prevents me from uploading an episode once per week, like, you know, Swampletics or Limpwort. But we kind of will, in the sense that it might get to a point eventually where it takes so many hours to do all of the chunks that that's more time than I have to play in a week. Right now, we're nowhere near that. Because if it's taking about 8 hours, even if I only played for 2 hours a day, which I tend to play more than that. I tend to get up early and play a lot of RuneScape. But even if I did 2 hours a day, that would be just fine. So we'll monitor that. I think that I'm very hopeful that the completing a chunk makes it optional rule is going to bring the count down once I actually start completing some of these chunks. And that's going to get easier and easier as we gain more XP, particularly in woodcutting, because a lot of chunks are blocked by woodcutting at the moment. So let's go ahead and check out the chunk picker. All right, so we're here at the chunk picker, and I want to show you this really quick. There is a history that gets saved on here, and it prevents me from cheating. I was a little alarmed when I got Varrock immediately after Port Sarim, because it was the chunk I wanted the most, and then not too long after that I got Al-Kharid, and I'm like, I really hope people don't think that I'm cheating. I also think I had an earlier episode where I was just kind of like systematically editing, and there was an edit between looking at the chunk picker and clicking pick chunk. But I want to show you that if you look at this XUY chunk picker, you can actually see my chunk roll history, and I can step through it here. Because, yep, it was the Ham Hideout, Lumbridge Swamp, Groats Farm, North Al-Kharid, Varrock South, Dual Arena, Champions Guild, South Draenor, Al-Kharid Mine, East Varrock Mine. Port Sarim was the bad chunk, and this is the one we had to re-roll, so you saw me do that. But then we got Varrock Center, East Lumbridge, and Al-Kharid Palace, and there have been no other chunk rolls here. This is where I can prove to you that I'm not a nasty cheater man. But anyway, back to chunks. So we no longer have crazy exciting ultra high value chunks anymore like we had with Varrock and Al-Kharid. Actually, real quick, I mentioned this earlier. I want to start adding transport connection points onto this map. Now, earlier in the episode, I mentioned Count Check as a teleport to the Stronghold of Security, and that therefore we should be able to open the Stronghold of Security chunk. But I don't think that's accurate, actually. And the reason it's inaccurate is that Count Check only ever teleports you there one time. So if I get teleported there while it's unlocked, great, but then I can't get back. And I could like, you know, use a home teleport, but then I can't get back there until I unlock another chunk nearby. So that's no bueno, not going to work. But any transport method that is permanent, like the canoe or the ferry from Al-Kharid to Temporos, I think should be allowed to count, provided that we have access to it. So for the canoe to count, we have to have a high enough woodcutting level to be able to cut the canoe to go that number of steps down, or have a requisite number of other chunks unlocked that we could, you know, keep going. So I need to look up canoes. I'm actually going to look at transport in general just to make sure I didn't miss any obvious transports here. I think it's pretty much just the canoe that I want to add right now, and Temporos, but I'll add those as rollable chunks. Give me 1 second. Okay, so this is interesting. I actually didn't know this. Man, see, I think it's good that I'm adding these as rollable chunks because it makes this content more relevant than it would be otherwise. That's kind of my rule. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure how every chunk man handles transport connections like ferries. I mean, there are places like Karamja where you literally need to take a boat to get there. So I assume that if you get to Port Sarim, that's how they open up Karamja. But in this case, there's other ways for me to get here. But I think that the playthrough becomes more interesting if there are more chunks we can roll, and we're not just constantly in the vicinity of Mistalin and Lumbridge. So More options are good. The discovery that I had that I didn't know is that the log canoe, which is at level 12, which that I'm currently using to go to Champions Guild and back, the dugout canoe is level 27. That goes 2 stops. The stable dugout goes 3 stops. Waka canoe is the 4th one. That's level 57 woodcutting, which that's actually kind of cool because now we have another interesting level that we're looking forward to before 60 for U logs. The Waka canoe is the only canoe that can go into the wilderness, technically, I guess. I don't know where it actually drops you off. It might be in this tile here. I could research that later. But what that means is that I can add we can do 3 stops, yeah. So I can add 3 stops from the Champions Guild would be here, would be a rollable chunk, and Edgeville would be a rollable chunk. But the Wilderness chunk would not be legal until we get to 57 woodcutting. And once we're 57 woodcutting on that cycle, I would add the Wilderness stop as a rollable chunk. So, yeah. Probably just going to be Edgeville plus Barbarian Village. Right. Okay, I think this is good. This makes the content more interesting. So the Waka canoe, when we unlock it, goes to Ferox Enclave, which has a canoe station right outside. And it also goes to somewhere way the hell up here in the lava maze or something. Oh, yeah. Which you can't come back from. So if I added that as a rollable chunk, I think that's okay. It's just the only way I can leave is by dying or casting a home teleport. So if we rolled that, that would be kind of bad news bears, especially if there's a bunch of content that I have to do there and I have to wait 30 minutes to get back. But like I said, potentially compelling content, so I think it's how we're going to do things. So let me go back to the chunk picker here, and we'll add Barbarian Village, Edgeville, and of course, Temporos. Okay, I think I've got them added here. Temporos, by the way, I think we have to roll. We can't just roll into the Ruins of Unka and go there. I think that's fair. Yeah, I think because the Sea Spirit dock is technically a separate chunk. Normally, I would say, it's a sub chunk. It's like in Trana, right, where there's a little thing hanging out over the end there that it doesn't have any content in it. The ruins themselves do have some content. There's a small amount of monsters that you can fight. There's a handful of NPCs to interact with. There's a bunch of item pickups, including a fishing rod and a harpoon, which would be game-changing and amazing. Yeah, there's a fish shop. There's stuff to mine. Yeah, this is a chunk. So 13 is a chunk, and then if we roll 13, we would make that a separate chunk. The Sea Spirit dock, we'll call that the Temporos chunk. And if we roll Temporos, then we get to go do it. And doing Temporos, we'd basically be getting 1 Temporos KC per day. So that's my ruling for that guy. But then you can also see I went ahead and added Barbarian Village and Edgeville. They should have been on here a while ago, probably since chunk 8, but it's an equal chance of me rolling everything, and it's just me missing out on going somewhere a little bit more interesting. So we'll correct for it now. I don't feel too bad about missing that until now, and I'll try to be more careful looking for those kinds of connections in the future. All right, let's get back to talking about chunks here. So 4. Now that I've just established all that stuff I said, Edgeville's actually pretty interesting. Edgeville has a connection to the Isle of Souls. Is that a surface area? Okay, I need to look at this again. Oh boy, Isle of Souls is a whole area, so we wouldn't immediately get access to all of these chunks, which I think makes sense. If we got Edgeville, this would now be a rollable chunk, and if we rolled it, then we'd have to roll things on the Isle of Souls separately, because I think there's something in basically almost all of these tiles here. There's things to mine. This should be pretty exciting to get to, because there's a lot of cool content over there. So I think Edgeville is interesting just because of its additional connections, and I think there's also technically there's Wilderness Slayer that I could start, even though I can't get into the wilderness yet. Some shops and the like. Also gets us closer to the monastery so that we can do those Wise Old Man tasks. Barbarian Village gets us into the Stronghold of Security, which... Okay, Stronghold of Security, I can clear, I think. I don't think there's anything in there that I can't fight. So I could mark it as a complete chunk. I suppose the Stronghold of Security actually is where I would have made that rule about sub-chunks being tracked separately from surface chunks when it comes to considering something complete and therefore optional, because otherwise there are so many enemies in there, and most of them aren't interesting. But we can kill them all once, and I might even want to continue killing them after that, because I think there's so many enemies and many of them have interesting drops. So yeah, I think actually Barbarian Village is my new most wanted chunk, simply because of the Stronghold of Security and because there's a million mobs in there. They all have interesting drops, tons of different tables. Even if I made it optional after clearing it once, I might want to do it more than once, even after the first time. And there's some other cool pieces of content here, like I think there's some ore to mine. There's an anvil. I can make pottery, which I might actually need to make pottery. Like I might actually want to make clay bowls, which has never mattered before outside of achievement diaries, so that's really cool. 6 and 5, more Varrock would be good. 6 is kind of boring. I guess it has some quests in it. 5 is good because it lets us complete some quests we were previously working on. Now that we have the flower, 7 is less interesting, but I suppose I still take it just to, because it's really annoying to not be able to get to the south half of the River Lum, or the other half of this cow pen, or the rest of the sheep pen. Just, you know, we could do sheep shearer too if we roll 7. 8 would be good for when we eventually get the agility course, and I would love to do some Slayer here. 9 is more exciting than previously thought. In addition to Imp Catcher, I can do Rune Mysteries if we get this, and start training Runecraft. You could say I don't want it, but I kind of want to be able to go to the Pure Essence Mine. I think I'm going to stick with my rule that I said that if there's if there's a chunk you've completed, you've exhausted everything in there once. On chunks that are completed, if there are depletable nodes, you can interact with them until they deplete. And if the node never depletes, you can interact them until your inventory fills one time. So that means I could mine the Pure Essence in that mine 28 times per rock, which would be really good. So Wizard Tower is maybe my second most wanted after Barbarian Village. Don't want Shantae Pass. Don't want this boring Hill Giant chunk. Don't want Mage Training Arena. Really don't want the Exam Center. I guess Temporos probably competes for second most wanted. Yeah, so it probably actually goes Barbarian Village, Temporos, or really I should say Ruins of Unka, just because this gets us more fishing content and we're about to hit 15 fishing. We can't do it right now without the fishing shop that we can unlock here. And there's a bunch of ore to mine and other interesting things, so Chunk 11, Chunk 9, or Chunk 13 would make me very happy. I've been rambling for a while. Let's go ahead and pick the chunk. What we get? Oh yeah, I added this fancy thing. It's a little bit neater. What we get? Wizard's Tower. Sweet. That was number 2. Okay, so the Wizard's Tower, we get to finish Imp Catcher. Just walk right in and hand him the item, which is cool. There's 6 wizards to kill and a lesser demon. I don't think anything in their drop table is particularly exciting, to be honest. Item spawns are bad. There's a single oak. There's no trees. That makes me so happy. There's one oak tree and that's it. Yeah, actually not terribly much else to do here, other than the fact that this finishes Rune Mysteries, which is my jam. I guess we'll be able to finish Imp Catcher. Can I not finish Rune Mysteries? Oh, I think it's because he's technically in the basement and it's just a bug with the site, but I can get to Wizard Sedrador, so we can definitely do Rune Mysteries then. Okay. That's probably the biggest thing, and then we can teleport. I need to determine whether I am allowed to teleport to the Rune Mine separately from Sedrador versus Aubrey. Does every NPC that's able to teleport me there count as a separate... I think it's the same instance. I think the answer is no, even though that would be kind of interesting because, you know, who cares about the fact that there's 4 different NPCs that teleport you there? I guess let's give that as a... Put your thoughts in the comments. Should I be able to count different people teleporting me there as it's a fresh zone for me to tap out? The argument for why I should be able to is that, does anyone care that there's a guy in the fucking gnome stronghold that can teleport you to the Pure Essence Mine? Probably not. That's the only circumstance in which anyone would ever give a shit about that. But I don't think it makes sense for the mode, though, because like each of those wizards teleports you to the same mine. You're going to the same chunk every time, so it would only be because I would suddenly care about getting the guy in Arduin that sends you there or whatever. Yeah, okay, well, next episode, I think it's going to go by pretty quickly. The first time I do the the Rune Essence mine, I don't think I get to exhaust it. I think I have to complete it once, and then on future chunks, after it's completed, then I can deplete each of the rune rocks. But at the beginning, I think I only get to tap each of them one time, sadly. Yeah, I think that's reasonable. You shouldn't be able to deplete it right away. Have to actually mark it as complete and celebrate. Okay, well, thank you for watching. Excited for the next episode. Lots to talk about now. I think that these sign-offs are going to get longer and longer as there are more chunks to talk about. I want to try to remind everybody my thoughts on them in every episode in case you're watching in the middle of the series. So maybe I'll put some skip codes or something for you to get right to the chunk picker if you don't really care about hearing me tell you why I don't want the exam center for the 50th time. Have a good time, though, and we'll see you next episode for the Wizard's Tower. Bye.